I am Evil BB. And I am the host,
Hey y'all, how y'all doing? Gang, gang, gang. I got my crew shirt on, cruise up. Kangaguru stand up. My crew and my gang is one thing and the same. Gang, gang, gang. Man, 114 people out there actually care what we about to talk about. For real talk. You guys are the best, for real. I swear, these guys all the time are the best. Like, I really cut these people. I know that sounds crazy, but like, I for real cut for these Kangagurus right here. I for real cut for them. Like, if somebody was to ask me, you know what I mean? There's a lot of other people that present the news like we do. Like, who do you listen to? Do you know who I listen to? All these people. I don't listen to none of these suckers. I don't rap with suckers. You feel me? Mm-hmm. I don't even talk to these clowns anymore. Like, I only talk to the real people. Like, I only fool with these people now. You know what I mean? I fool with the gang first. That's the Kangaguru clan. That's the club. I fool with them heavy. I'm heavy in the Chevy with them every day. They get a large majority of my time. You feel me? Mm-hmm. And then you know who else I fool with? Oh. I fool with the Pateron crew because those people put in the work. You know what I'm saying? Last night, we didn't have a big group on there, but it was a group on there, and they were asking questions, interjected. It wasn't this, okay? I can't even ever forget my roots. I'm going to get to that. But that was like, I cut for that heavy in the Chevy. Do you know what else I cut for? I cut for these people right here. I cut for the 69. And you know what? It's so funny because on Twitter, like some of the original people, like I go back to like, I click, like I'm following them on Twitter, right? Because they're the original people. And I go back and I look to see if they were following me. And like some of them not even following me no more. They like dropped me. I got dropped on Twitter by my originals, my OGs. Oh. My feelings was kind of hurt, y'all. For real, my feelings was kind of hurt, man. For real.
You can't take it personal.
I'm like for real sentimental about these people, man.
Because you know what? There's people that I follow for different things and I'll unsubscribe, but then I come right back. You know what I mean? I may take a break. So sometimes I'll purge and unsubscribe to people and then I'll come back later. But not at that point in time in my life, I wasn't in the mood for that. That doesn't mean it's over.
Right.
So.
But yeah, my little feelings was hurt behind that, for real.
Because, you know, my favorite person, I went and met her in person. I've unsubscribed to her like 3 times. And I'm not going to say her name, but you know what I'm talking about.
Can I say her name?
You can.
What's up, my big love?
Because sometimes I feel like a mukbang and sometimes I don't. So, it just,
I love it when you feel like a bang. I just, you know, that's the times I live.
It's hot right now. I don't feel like.
Man, y'all don't know. We in the YouTube studio tonight, and we have the electrical storm on Thursday night.
Yeah.
We have a 2-story home, and we have 2 units in the home. Well, usually, like if you have AC problem in your home and you've had a 2-unit home, you know if you have 2 units, one will go out, the other one won't go out, right?
Right.
But the electrical storm was so forceful, it knocked out the cable, Wi-Fi. They had to rewire stuff. And then, like, the AC, like, they totally, like, it knocked it out. Like, we have no AC. And in Texas, you don't have no AC, okay? I'm just giving y'all the real. In Texas, I don't care where you live. In Texas,
Las Vegas, you
ain't playing no game.
Arizona, you don't go without no AC. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, this is, like, day number 4 for us with no AC. Mm-hmm. So, but, yeah, we're going to still bring the news. So, I wish I had like a really catchy saying like some YouTubers do. Like I watch YouTube now all the time for catchy sayings like, you know, like FTC stand up, stand up. They go, when I say FTC, they say stand up. Everybody stand up, stand up.
I don't even know that.
I know. I'm all into it. But anyway, since I got my crew with me, I got my most loveliest girl with me.
I am April BB.
I want to feel the power. I am and welcome to the status.
That's Daisy.
And that was Daisy. You stepped
Stealing
on my
your
line.
shine.
You stepped on my line, dog.
Stealing your shine.
And I am here to present the status of the reinstatement of the Iraqi Dinar IQD chat. Golly, we're 3 minutes into it. Let's get to the news. Now, the Iraqi delegation was in Kuwait to hold the work of the joint minstrels. And so, like, that's a big deal. Again, anytime that you have Iraq opening up trade with other countries, not just regionally, but globally, I feel like it's always a great news. It was headed by Hakeem. They left Baghdad to Kuwait. It's the Joint Iraqi Kuwait Ministerial Committee. Congress. Okay, one of my Kangaguru crew in the club gave me this. Did you guys know we're always talking about gold or no gold? On the 116th session of 16th session of Congress 2019-2020, there will be a gold audit. He says, and this is on congress.gov, it says to provide the first true audit of gold owned by the United States in more than 65 years and subsequent audits every 5 years. So I guess if you're going to subscribe to Ms. BB, you're a precious metal person, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I'm a precious metal person. We know Uncle Luke's a precious metal. 99% of the Kangaroos out there. So I think even now, so if we don't know exactly what the United States government holds in precious metals, now take time out individually. I'm just telling you guys, we heard way more about this in the club, and I'm gonna do some precious metal stuff, but please take the time out to think about those, okay? Open this in the gram.
In the gram?
Well, it was something. It was an article somebody put. It was in the gram, the gram group.
Telegram. Okay, I got it.
Okay, the U.S. revealed. Remember, guys, my whole question about, and this is why I always post stuff like this. My whole question was about the conflict that could go on with Iran, with how they were going to bomb those nuclear plants because they're in those small enclaves in the urban areas. The U.S. reports it's funny. Every time I say stuff like this, it's like it comes in the news. Mm-hmm. It's like if I say I buy a red car, but I see like 30 of the same red car everywhere I go, right? Mm-hmm. This is kind of like what I went through right here. Report reveals that a bomb used by Washington in secret to dismember the victims in Iran instead of bombing them, right? And so it's this smart bomb that goes in and it doesn't blow you up, it blows you in. So like it blows the inside of you up, but it destroys like communications, it destroys specialty things, but it doesn't blow you up. So it doesn't hurt lots of people, right? It just hurts in the vicinity of what it's trying to destroy, but it blows you in and all your innards are messed up. It's kind of crazy. It says the actual warhead is not exploding, but it drops more than 45 kilograms of steel, surrounded by a ring of 6 long blades and explodes within seconds of collision. It takes out roofs, buildings, and torn of the, it's like a Jinsu flying machine. And the Jinsu is in the reference of the flaming knives. The R9X, which is operated by an unnamed aerial vehicle, is a higher level than highly destructive Hellfire missiles. Although it has been used only a few times in many Middle Eastern countries, the U.S. government and military have kept its presence under lock and key since its development since 2016. It's funny that an Iraqi newspaper will report on a warhead that America could use against its neighboring country. Don't you find that unique and special? I kind of do. I'm just being dead serious. I think that's freaking cool. If I need to hit a bomb on that one.
Oh, yo, here we go. Sound effects.
Oh, you damn straight. You guys love my sound effects. Don't even play. This one guy said that he was laughing so hard listening to the sound effects that like if people at work just didn't understand like what he was going through. Like they were like,
"Why are
what?
you laughing? Please tell me."
Who is this?
I'm trying to see. Please, it says, "Please tell me how much time. Review all the Iraqi dinar. I'm very poor. I have no money in my pocket. Please tell me how much time." I wish we had a crystal ball.
Hassan, it's people like you that really make me feel bad because I get it, but I can't tell you that, Hassan. If I knew how much time, then I would just simply tell you guys and we would all go about our day. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to lie to you. I'm only going to tell you the stuff that I know to be the truth, okay? So remember this about us. We're not the people to sit here and like make fun of people or tell you things that are false or true like a lot of these stupid ass gurus do out here, excuse my language. We're out here to give you guys the truth and to tell you everything that's going down. That's all I could do. So Hassan, I'm sorry. But with the news, that sucked. That was like my whole day right there, just in a nutshell.
What?
And now with the news. Okay, sources, U.S. delegation, Kirsten asked his official not to deal with Iran. So the U.S. coalition, while they were in Iraq a couple days ago, said that they went to Kurdistan and they asked the Kurdistan region, that was Mike Pompeo's group, not to deal with Iran. And you know the reason why? If they were in Kurdistan, to deal with Iran, and that was for oil. So they told them, don't deal with Iran for any circumstances, leave them alone. And you have to come to believe that the Kurds actually have a true affinity for the Trump administration, because Trump has this like love affair with them, right? It's really cool. It's like he called them out when the whole Iraq elections were, and he said that the Kurdistan people were the smart people and this and this and this. He really shouted them out, made them feel really special. So I guess by him asking Pompeo to go there and like not do business with them was a personal shout out from Trump to them, like, hey, cool out. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't do stuff with them. Okay, Pakistan's got itself in a little bit of a pickle with Iran because they were supposed to sign this joint pipeline that was supposed to go between the two countries. And because Pakistan won't do the pipeline anymore because of the bills and stuff that it was going to incur because of the sanctions, they said, hey, we don't want to be on the sanctions list, right? And it's funny that Pakistan be one of those countries that's what? On the Kangaguru radar. Pakistan is actually an undervalued currency.
Oh,
it's funny, right?
Pakistan. What do they use? Do they use rupee? No, they don't use rupee.
Rupiah?
They use rupiah?
It might be something like, but it is. But they're on the radar. I'm gonna do all these. Well, I can't talk about that. This BBC says I can't talk about that right there. It would be suicide for Iran to start a war with the U.S. This is what an ex-CIA director told everybody. Now, it's kind of funny because Iran actually said that by positioning that big warship in the middle of the Gulf like that, that you know what it was? A big target. It's the rupee. Yeah. The rupee is actually on the target. Isn't it funny that every country that we talk about as of late is on the radar for currency that could revalue?
Yeah.
Especially when they talk about this being like a wealth year and all this stuff. I don't know if it's a wealth year, but it's actually a knowledge-bringing year to wealth. And I think that's bigger than the wealth itself, because this could awaken so many future millionaires. I'm just being super honest with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Who's that?
No, this is Seamus about to stop talking too.
Oh, tell him what up.
Hey, Seamus.
Now, they're saying this ex-CIA director was saying that the sanctions against them were crushing Iran's economy into a tailspin, and that despite soaring tensions between Washington and Tehran, the former CIA director isn't overly concerned about an all-out war breaking out. Now, this is one thing I want to tell you guys. You do not want wars to break out. It's funny that we talk about wars. So we are in a trade war, right? But as long as that trade war doesn't escalate into a it's the other account that somebody just got added. As long as the other account doesn't, as long as the trade war doesn't escalate into something stupid, it's a great war to be in, right? Because it's going to help. And this one person got me we talked about it, and he was actually a very intelligent person, or she was, and was telling me, about Americans being lazy, and not being lazy, but so much they weren't going to want to pay more for stuff, and they're going to want their time off, and American manufacturing is dead. And I totally disagree with them. I said, I think Americans want jobs back here in America, especially skilled positions. Like, the funny thing about it is, like, for years and years and years, people told you that you had to go to school, you had to do this, you had to do that. But remember the time when there were like masonry courses? Remember the time when there was actually like welding courses, truck driving? That's the
actual trade,
actual infrastructure and manufacturing that can help America build back its middle class to what it could be. You see what I'm saying? And I just totally disagree with this person. Not that I was vengeance or spitting venom at him. They made valid points about, I think, some of the stays and stuff for America, but I think that's part of the reason why I love the China trade war, because it's going to bring about a change. Now, this whole posturing and positioning with Iran, the posturing and positioning with Iran is to isolate Iran and to actually isolate China. If you think about it to this degree, one of China's main trade partners for two main things, which is iron ore and main trade things is for oil, are getting isolated. One is Iran, one is Iraq, right? So even if they could get money in between the two countries, it really isn't a lot of it. Now, the actual person I was talking to on Twitter was like, well, you know what, Mr. Brando, you really kind of missed upon the point that you said the governments were going to pay more for goods and services. That's not. It was really the citizens were. And I said, well, I don't think you remember the fact that I said if you bought like a book bag or something and you paid like $40 for it, that you were actually going to end up paying like $65 to $75 for it. Didn't I say something like that?
I recall that.
Yeah, this person thinks that, I guess they kind of thought that I was being a little bit, hasty in my judgment. Oh, I'm fine. You want to pull that more towards you, position it? Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, pull it more towards you. Turn the whole thing and you can turn it up.
Daisy's over here at my feet. We're both over here like, honey, we ain't here for it.
Yeah, here, pull it forward, turn it up. Yeah. We'll just have. I'm sorry, y'all, about the sound tonight. We ain't got the AC with the air being out. Yeah, you need to turn that. No, you need to turn the whole thing like the other way, like
this way.
Yeah,
it's rotating.
I know.
You want me to go push this there?
Yeah, there you go.
Like that.
Yeah, there you go.
Can
Okay.
you feel that, Daisy?
Okay. Now, sorry about that, y'all, but we got to be a little bit cool because there's a lot of lights in here. Y'all can't see the lights in the background. The escalation could get out of hand. I doubt it. I think both governments are sophisticated enough not to let this happen. You got to remember, Iran fights a lot of its battles through its words and through its fundings. You know what I'm saying? They're not physically involved in a lot of conflict, right? As of late. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But because of their venomous rhetoric about certain Islamic things, they're involved in a lot of things that involve, physical harm. You know what I'm saying? And I think that they're about to find out that they've been outpositioned and outmaneuvered. And the reason why I'm saying outpositioned and maneuvered is because they're not going to be able to put their hand of deceit into things if they can't pay for it. They can't pay for it if they can't sell any of their oil. Major deal there. Now, we talked about Vietnam on the other channel. Baghdad today is under threat and pressure to prevent it from continuing to undercover the largest money smuggling operation in Iraq. I think Uncle Luke said it best when he said that as long as we kept seeing articles about money laundering coming up, as long as we started seeing stuff about the corruption in place, that Iraq was making the proper steps to go towards Article 8, which is going to be compliant with stepping forth in front of the international stage. And to do so, one of those major hurdles that they have to overcome is being transparent, right? Mm-hmm. And so when I see stuff like that, I love it, right? Now, Baghdad stresses today is continuing to publish more documents and details to expose all those that are involved in accordance with the documents and confirm facts despite these pressures, and will not stop in the dissemination of its own regard as national and constitutional right in the line with the promises of the freedom of expression law issued by the House of Representatives. The agency reiterates its legally pursuit to parties in the event the threat accidentally targeted. And remember, a lot of these people now, what they're considering a huge threat or gang threat is money laundering. Why would you care so much about money laundering or money tampering or what do you call that? When you make a fake bill, it's called
counterfeit.
Counterfeit. Yeah, thank you. Why would you care so far about counterfeiting if the currency is worthless? Just food for thought. I'm not saying it is or it isn't. I'm saying it's food for thought. It says Amir Akim says we are still working with the former regime's legislation and its corruption worsening. Now it's funny. You would think that he's talking about Mohandi's group, but he's not. He's actually talking about Sadr's group, and he's saying that because of the setback of those people, that there's just actually a whole bunch more corruption that they've had to deal with because those people got put in because of sectarianism, and those people are going to get more put in because of sectarianism. So you're like 2 and 3 fold, right? Now, remember I told you that they went and visited Kuwait, and Kuwait and them had signed a memorandum of understanding to establish an 80-nation road initiative for tax cooperation. The memo does not create any insight and does not impose any obligation of the state of Kuwait. It's worth mentioning that Kuwait signed with the memorandum on the first form of the road of taxation incentive, provides for the establishment of the mechanism of the cooperation and the promotion of economic growth in cooperating parties, the contribution to achieve of comprehensive sustainable development in the member country, as well as support and completion of the international tax standard as in the OECD and United Nations model of tax convention. Bully for them. Cairo. Publication of Egyptian Catholics Cabinet Information Center on Friday. The summit, One Belt, One Road. I think that maybe me and maybe just a couple other people were talking about One Belt, One Road initiative. You see this all over the place today. They held their international cooperation, and it was held in the Chinese capital of Beijing, and that was the other day, and it went until Saturday the 27th, and the petitioning for the leaders and the heads of government from nearly 37 countries. So again, Iraq is the central hub for not only marine, but as far as overland trade, you know what I'm saying, for that? Mm-hmm. It's no secret that that's going to be a hub and that the dinar is going to be the derivative that's going to help build that hub. Qatar National Bank was in taking shape as China went ahead with the road and the road initiative. China signed cooperation agreements with 126 countries and 29 international organizations, and is expected to create the trade and investment opportunities for China, Q&A, and on Saturday. Nearly 40 world leaders and some 5,000 gathered in Beijing, and the summit for One Belt, One Road, Iraq signed on. That's why you guys got to remember something. That's why that vice president was over here in America and not the actual president of China, because the actual president of China was in Beijing, and he was stressing something that he felt was way more important, which is the One Belt, One Road initiative, by having all those, instead of dealing with just one country, which was America, which was signing on anyway, they've already signed on, he was dealing with 126 countries and got 29 other outside countries to sign on to One Belt, One Road. I think that is a bomb. It tells you exactly what the forefront is. We're not so much worried about America because that's going to work out, but we got to get this One Belt, One Road thing done. That's more important than anything. Even Russia signed up for it. Anything Russia, even Russia and Cambodia signed up for it. Mark my words. Telling you One Belt, One Road is bigger than a lot of people are giving them actual credit for. Now, files of corruption in Iraq trend to a media exchange. Although corruption charges have been brought against a large number of politicians and officials, the judiciary has not prosecuted any of them so far. The file has gradually moved into the media intervention section and a review of the slogans among the various political forces. Last Thursday, the Supreme Council for Combating Corruption, the most recently announced anti-corruption in a fifth of its kind formation in Iraq, headed by Mabdul Mahdi, issued a decree calling on individuals and entities, regardless of the names and job descriptions, to provide the evidence against accusations. So meaning this, they're going to prosecute a bunch of people, but they haven't done anything so far. Now, what they're also saying is that the corruption of more than $450 out of the $900 billion received by Iraq from the sale of oil during the past 12 years, and it confirms that much of this came at the hands at the former regime. Okay, they're looking for solutions. Now, I read that sanctions against these countries. I'm not going to reread that. Security and Defense Committee on Parliament. The arming of the Iraqi army at the present time tends to the American and is far from the Russian, although the latter is more suitable for the Iraqi soldier. Now, what they're talking about here is how Iraq buys arms. They buy much of their arms from the United States because it was convenient, but Russia was better suited to arm them, and I think that they thought Russians were better suited to arm them because Russia arms Iran. I don't think that you have to totally dump one person into a classification. I think this is what the article does here. It kind of generalizes the Middle Eastern fighter to be a Russian-style fighter because of Syria, Turkey, places that Russia meddles with, so to speak. I think a much more sophisticated approach would be getting armed by the Americans, and that's why you see F-16s there instead of any other aircrafts. Just using my thought process. Huh? Right on.
So it works. Show me.
Cool. Has anybody used it yet?
No.
Oh, okay. Washington warned its citizens. Basically, Washington warned all the citizens that are living in Iraq, hey, you guys, stay vigilant, keep your head on a swivel, don't get caught slipping. There's a lot of bad guys out here, and they want to get us all. So, watch out for that, okay? So make sure that you guys are watching out for them. Ministry of Industry and Minnesota Undersecretary. Now, this is the thing about the Ministry of Mineral. What the meeting that I want to see take place, y'all, between the Minister of Mineral and the Minister of Mineral of China. I think that if you see China visit Iraq and they make a deal for them to sell steel and iron ore to supplement Iran, then that is a major ordeal and a step more towards them isolating, you see what I'm saying? Isolating Iran from the rest of the community. That's the meeting I want to see take place. Barzani had joyous news today. He met with the special envoy of the U.S. Secretary General in Iraq, and I think this is important because this is where a lot of people get confused. He said the situation is the area covered by Article 140. It didn't say that he actually directly dealt with Article 140, but the situations that led up to it, such as the census, such as an actual body count, people moving back into the places they don't live anymore. All those places, you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Able to house people again. I think those are questions or things that Barzani brought up to the UN Secretary Council, and I think they're being dealt with. But in no shape or form was that a meeting exactly about Article 140. You can't have a meeting about Article 140 unless they talk about a census. Now, if they're going to adopt my census principle, which is you use the key cards and then you subtract the people that are working, that makes sense. But they've offered no alternative to it. You see what I'm saying? So to sit here and be like, well, behind closed doors. Well, anybody can say that. I can say behind closed doors they figure out a way to revalue their currency. But I don't think that it's generally happening like that. I think the Ministry of Finance is working with the coordination with the CBI Bank, and they are trying to formulate some type of idea. It's just my personal opinion that Alak is so freaking corrupt and so more concerned with selling currency on the auction, where he's probably taking a cut. If you want me to speculate and throw my mind out there, he's taking a piece of that he really isn't concerned with revaluing the currency. And until we deal with Alak, that's why the more pressure and stuff that I like to see about Alak or the central bank having problems and woes, the more that I get excited about the investment, because it's one step closer to getting rid of the arch nemesis of the investment, which is Ali Ismail Alak. The Finance Committee revealed the details of the draft financial management bill. Can I say, that's the buzzer I'm looking for. I'm actually been looking for this for a whole minute here. They announced the establishment of the mechanism to pay off foreign debts. That's part of being Article 8 compliant. Warrant the Committee on Economic and Investment to double the value of external debt because of the benefit of them. The financial management law, which the House intends to enact. It didn't say vote on. It says the House intends to enact. God dang, that's beautiful news. Enact its financial constitution of the state, because it's interested in all financial issues in addition to the organization of financial relationships between the region and the center, foreign debts, and the organization of investment, work, and the management of the treasury and the relations of the state bank, as well as being interested in financial aspects related to the private sector. Because to enact that law, you have to shift that mechanism about the exchange rate, which impacts foreign investment, because they also know that there's more red tape. So if you can get your money in and out, and it's got a feasible exchange rate where you're not losing money on the import or export, it's attractive to who? Foreign investors. And that does what? Create some type of banking inclusion. And does what? Get the citizen paid, because you don't know why?
Right.
Because now they have purchasing power, which is way more important than anything else. And it also solves, because every U.S. company that comes in there, or Chinese company, or any other company that comes there, must employ 50% Iraqi to work, which solves their unemployment problem. It gives their skilled labor system an activity to do, which can earn money off of the state system onto the private sector system, which allows the state budget to stay the same, not increase or decrease, but put into a surplus at that time. Remember, they talked about using a fund to pay 10% out for the oil and gas. That could be the fund if they set up all those mechanisms I just talked about to pay the citizens their 10%, achieving Article 140 and solving a whole bunch of stuff that every guru talks about all the time.
Yeah.
Now, every guru, because they can never put it together. All they do is they tell you, well, this or that, but they never have a theory why. And no offense, I'm not just trying to go off on it, but that's why when people say your show is no different, it's really freaking different. Because not only do I tell you why, I tell you the steps to how it could happen. Nobody else does that. They just say, well, it doesn't happen. It hasn't happened, or it's going to happen. Well, tell me why. I just told you why. 99% of the year. Okay, hold on. 99% of the Iraqis that are of a certain faith, our Sunni bloc, want Iran out of Iraq. Now, the Shiite, we know, is the one that kind of runs the country, but we know that basically all of the Sunnis want the Iranian people and their influence out of their country because it's not good for them, and they know it. And I think that's where people say this is going to fail. If the Sunnis ever get a voice, if the Sunnis ever get the voice that I think they deserve, then you're going to see major change happen in Iraq. And I think it's happening now, especially with the free enterprise that you see happening and with the laws going forward, because with that's going to bring change. And with that, without the Iranian influence, it gets rid of the bribery and the corruptions and the bull crap. You're going to see major change happen in Iraq.
Hit the like, hit the like.
Yeah, hit the like, comment, and subscribe button. That's for real. If you guys haven't put that together, remember there's two groups there. There's the Shiites and there's the Sunnis, and there's another small subgroup I've talked about them before. Sorry, I don't remember the name. I don't mean disrespect. And happy Ramadan to all you nice, great Muslim people out there. But the thing about it is, the Sunnis are not the bad guys here. It's the Shiite. And the Shiite have the control because of Iran. And that's why you want to see Pompeo and those guys in Iraq, because they want to limit the Shiite or transform the Shiite influence, which is Iranian-based in their ideology, into a Sunni ideology, which would get us further along, in my opinion. It's kind of like this. The whole country is run by one gang, right? But you got a sub-gang there. The sub-gang there isn't like a minority. There's a lot of people of them, but there's just not enough of them to take over. You see what I'm saying? Now, Alawi calls for the people to play a role in the crisis of the people. Al-Amiri leads secret understanding between the factions to respond to the Washington's policy towards Iran. Now, I thought this was very interesting. Government officials announced on Monday that they were a movement among the popular crowd led by Fatih al-Alans and Hadi Amiri in efforts to get the armed factions out of Iraq. Now, isn't that interesting? Now you've got major political blocs talking about getting these armed factions out of Iraq. Now, large political leaders in the crowd, including Amiri and others, are working to coordinate the trend to conduct movement and contacts and factions, including in the crowd, including the factions of Massadr, Asif, Najib, Tariq, and all other factions to unite visions against Iran. He pointed out that supporters of the trend want to have a unified position of the factions against against the U.S. factions, and do not want any of these factions out of trend. A number of these factions embarrassing between the commitments of governments to the loyalty of Iran, and other factions agreed to go, while other factions are still involved to the position. What it's basically saying is that these guys are trying to form a thing to get rid of these people that are out of there because of Iran, but don't use the Washington people or the American people as some type of political posturing, but to get them out themselves. Now, for all you guys out there that are talking about trade wars create currency rate change, and during those currency rate changes, 5 things must happen. Number 1, tariffs placed on certain goods and services. That happened. Number 2, world trade begins to slow down as a result of their higher taxes. The results is rising debt and collapsing domestic currencies that cannot afford higher taxes. Their devaluation allows them to receive lower rates on these higher taxes. The devaluation of the currencies will begin to rise as less tariffs are adjusted over time and the need of them. You will see the dollar rise and fall to adjust along with the currencies so we can remain competitive with all other countries. You will see the 10-20% drop in trade. The economics we're talking about last week to show up. This creates a need for market corrections, by the way. Last but not least, make sure you have organized your currency. Make sure they will begin to rise as the process devalues and revalues into real values that have now been triggered in the market. That was a guy that was much smarter than me. But what he basically says is, once you start to see these markets start to revalue and value and correct themselves, you're going to see the currencies begin to trade at a higher rate. And once it does, have your currencies ready for purchase. And that's why we've kind of changed our structure here. We're going to go ahead and diversify our portfolio and buy a little bit more foreign currency, but of an Asian persuasion. Have that off to the side. I already told you, but we're going to change that little bit of money into, which is going to be long money here in the long run. And that is huge.
Yeah, Dwayne said hit it again.
Just for Dwayne. Iraq has become the Andrew investment hotspot. And remember, anytime I believe that you have business inclusion in the banking system, because they're going to be putting money in there to fund these projects, it also helps out with the banking inclusion, because that's just going to create more and more sub stuff, right?
Right.
The business is going to bring in subcontractors. Subcontractors are going to bring in employees. Employees are going to bring in paychecks. Paychecks are going to bring in paperwork. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So all of the big business coming in there, the activation of the private sector is the stimulus to the personal sector, right?
Right.
I guess a lot of people miss that. I'm glad we catch that. Governor Basra, Department Government Contracts in the Office of Province to launch electrical power projects. Now remember, the power projects are going to be based upon Siemens and another group, right? The second largest contributor of anything in Iraq for the next little bit. But I think that's huge because that project is massive, okay? Sauder's bloc confirmed its commitment to success of Al Sauder's reform project. There's an article, 2 articles, actually one that said Sauder deserves support for his sincere idea to go ahead and to A, get rid of all the corrupt people, and to B, enact all of the reforms. Now, you got to understand something. someone from his block confirmed its commitment. You know what I'm saying? Sauter didn't. Sauter doesn't have to confirm it, but it's really funny that he's all the way committed through Ramadan. Now, think about this. Now, scenario number one, a lock doesn't get replaced, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I think you could see possibly happen? And I don't think it's really feasible, but you could actually see Mahandi go up before a no confidence vote. Now, they didn't do a no confidence vote on a body. They couldn't do it. They just couldn't get the people to do it. But just think if they could get a no confidence vote because Mahandi couldn't get his government together. I think if they did that, you could actually see people say, get rid of a lock. It's just more time to get rid of a lock. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that's the main goal here, is not really get rid of Mahandi and his government, but to really force a lock out, because a lock is the bad guy. There's major corruption in the central bank. I couldn't have caused better myself. Parliamentary Finance Committee on Sunday confirmed that there was a particular concern for political parties who run corrupt operations in the central bank, while vowing to disclose corruption files belonging to the government bank soon. She opened a file of corruption, and committee's members, Magda Tamini, our favorite girl Tamini, and a bank in statement. First bank was the Rashid Bank, disclosed an embezzlement of $6 billion presented the file of fair. 30 files of corruption on the Bank of Rashid already, confirming they have a large files of corruption on other banks in the central bank, and will show them successfully. I showed that there's a lot in the central bank, and the beneficiary of the corruption operations, the central bank, affiliated to the political parties, and their account will be very soon. So who runs the Central Bank of Iraq? Ismail Ali al-Awlaq. And guess what the last line of this points out? Earlier, she pointed out there was a role for the central bank that allowed huge amounts of money to be smuggled to the country through what? The auctions that had now amounted to 1.5 trillion with a T, dinars to Ali Bank and political roots. So if you get rid of the central bank governor, much like you hear much Americans bitch about the Fed, get rid of the Fed, you get rid of the corruption. And that's where I think the banksters come out from, the Fed and the central bank. Now, all efforts of compatibility on the completion of the cabinet have failed thus far. Kareem Alawi on Monday, the importance of statements and the talk about the close candidate's interior payment stress and the efforts to degree failed. Basically, it's just saying that they're giving them the month of Ramadan before they actually resolve anything. Now, we talked about Ramadan not getting anything done because we thought it was the supreme holiday and they just weren't going to do anything. But they're actually kind of saying it like, we're going to take Ramadan to get our crap together. First week of Ramadan, I want to see a lock gone. Second week of Ramadan, if the lock's not gone, I want to see a no confidence vote on Mahandi if it's possible, if they can get enough votes together. That is my goal. That's what I think is a timeline that's realistic. Either no confidence because this idiot can't get his stuff together and he's weak, or number two, I want to see a lock going on a chopping block. And with that, guys, that is the news. I will open up the phone lines, and we can take some live phone calls, or I can take some questions out of the crowd. Anything in there right now? Any of interest?
Mm-mm. So I bought this mattress.
360 people in there. You guys, earlier, we were only 17 people shot at 4K. Can I get at least 30 people tonight to join up if you ain't up so we can get over 4K? You from Baton Rouge, James? Welcome from Baton Rouge. XRP 35. Hey, Mother of 12. Hey, Jay. Jabu. I'm from Port Hope, east of Toronto. Dang, Toronto in the building. Hey, babe. Hey, Bethany. Bethany, shout out to Bethany. Shirts are going on the website this week. Gang, gang, gang. I'm modeling in all black. I think I might need a 3X, but a 2X is fitting me pretty good. I might need a 3X, but this is my Kangaguru. I'm calling this the classic crew. You see the Kangaguru on the front. Yeah, it's going down. And somebody said, please don't sell any T-shirts. I'm going to do whatever the hell I want to do on my show. You don't like it? You can tune out. Boom! You damn right, boom. We're having a great day. Boy, Bitcoin has actually gone off. Congratulations to all the crypto heads out there, Miss BB. Miss BB, you called it, didn't you? What did you say? It went up, what, 5% or 8%?
Oh, much more than that.
Okay.
It's at 8,000. So, I'm sorry, Daisy. I keep doing that to you. So, like on March 5th, Had you bought a full March 15th, I'm sorry, when I showed my the Bitcoin I was holding, right? I had only thrown $100 in there. Right? That one I sold. I think I sold one night live on air. But basically back then it was $3,900. So if you had one Bitcoin today, it's like 8,000 and climbing. So
you made 5 cash?
Yeah.
Basically?
Yeah.
Wow.
I had to tell you about a couple of people offline because I don't think he wants people to know. But he's doing well. He's done well on Litecoin and Bitcoin.
Based upon your instructions?
Oh, he's savvy too.
But he's in the crew. He's in the club.
He's in the club. It's one of your boys.
I already know. You know, if they savvy, they one of my boys, and they all up in the Telegram crew. Okay. Y'all also go out there to www.mrbrando, register. I'm going to do blasts and giveaways from there. I'm also going to be more involved in talking. If any of you guys want to help be a moderator on mrbrando.com, email me personally, call, do something. I would love to get more of you people involved in the gang.
No says he's up on his crypto. Congrats, No. No said I'm up on my crypto. I'm happy.
Is that who it was? No?
Yeah, No.
No was the one that made the money?
No, I can't tell you that, but I'll tell you that offline. But I'm just telling you what he's saying.
Oh, Bethany made that money. Bethany's been involved in the club.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pimpe says it too. Pimpe, you can call. I know you had something to say.
Linda said, hey, Linda. She said, call in, Pimpe.
Pimpe, we talked earlier. I talked to Pimpe and Mr. Frazier. I think I talk to them every day. Jason says China just might do that deal with steel with Iraq. The timeline for the train station project is just about ready to start. Want to need the steel. They need the steel for the rails. Isn't it funny that I thought about that? Yeah, I already know.
Is that?
That's our boy from Guam.
Yeah.
That's Jason.
Oh my gosh, I think I need another bottle of water.
To accept, press 1. To send a voice.
Hello?
Yes, Bitcoin is on a run. I'm sorry, I heard that when I was walking.
Hold on, bro. Hold on. I'm trying to. Jason, call back. Jason, call back so I can add you.
Look what she said.
Hey, but I want to hear something funny. Miss April, check this out. So on Sunday,
your dog.
when the
Oh my
cryptos
God.
all started to take a drop. Remember that?
What was that? I'm sorry.
Remember on Sunday when cryptos started to take a drop?
Yeah.
My friend just called me up and gave me a hard time.
Well, remember I said in our conversation, my thing was, is it going to stick? Because I said the telltale sign is Monday. See, people sit around on the weekend and they normally buy, right? So if you got downtime because the market never closed, they buy.
Okay, hold on. If you guys want to talk about this, I got a whole platform for it. This is about Iraq. All right. Y'all want to talk about Bitcoin? Go to my other platform. This is about Iraq. What do you want to talk about Iraq?
Hey, you want to hear something real funny though, real quick though? Because just before I got on the phone with you, my son, my oldest son calls me up, right? This is funny. My son, he treats me like two people. I'm Dad or I'm Mr. Pimpy. He loves it. Right? So he calls me up and goes, Dad, I need Pimpy. I'm like, why do you do that all the time? He goes, seriously. So here's a scenario. There's this girl that he likes. He's with her. He's playing rock music in the background. This is what he says. I need Pimpy to tell. I need a great choice of music to help set the mood. I said, that's funny. He knows. I said, so Pimpy says, throw on some Luther Vandross. Trust me.
You're
You can't go wrong with that, man. I said, Luther makes babies, all right? So make sure we're calling because I ain't ready to get ready yet.
Oh my God. Hold on. Let me get Jason on here. I should have merged you two together. Hold on here.
You didn't. Hello?
Hello.
Hold on, Pepe. Hold on. Hey, Jason, you there?
Yes, sir.
Hold on. Okay. Are you both there?
I'm here. Yep, I'm here.
Okay, I got both of y'all. Okay, good. Okay. Sorry, y'all. It is hot as heck up here.
Hot as fish grease.
Jason, did you see that? And I know Pimpin and I kind of hinted on it earlier. Did you see that thing I said about Iraq selling their iron ore and steel to China?
Yes, I did. Did you see my message that I sent?
Yes, I did. Now, all you crypto heads out there, we got your guys' whole platform for you. Pimp MSBB, she releases 4 or 5 videos a week on there. Just go to Patreon. Go to Patreon, Mr. Brando. You can check out Miss BB at her finest. But I promise the folks, Iraq here, we're going to talk a little bit about everything, but I'm sorry to cut y'all off.
He's telling me to shut up.
I'm not telling you to shut up. If I say shut up, woman, I mean shut up.
That's not going to keep your female subscribers in.
Hey, but look, you notice everybody's distancing themselves from Iran.
They know I'm not like that.
Look, Trump has been looking for any excuse in the world to bomb the hell out of those nuclear facilities. And all they had to do was the stupidest thing, just even semi-threaten, whether it's a false flag or not. They're going to make an excuse to blow the crap out of those nuclear facilities.
Okay, but here's my thing about the nuclear facilities. They're in urban areas, right? They're around crowded people. Now, the United States has already leaked basically the type of weaponry they're going to inflict upon Iran, which I think is all propaganda planted by the U.S. government. Don't you think at some point Iran's got to say, we can kind of take this as far as we can, but we really can't take it any further before we got to get on the negotiating table? We've got to make that phone call.
Well, it's not. These people are too ignorant. All right, it's not going to happen. What's not being mentioned here that I've seen on posts from different people in Iran is the fact that the people are taken to the streets. They are protesting and putting in a lot of pressure. This is exactly what Trump wanted. When I told you he did that whole thing, I thought he was using Iraq as the lure. You remember that?
Right, I do.
And he got Iran to take $4 of the $12 billion in the debt they owed in dinar. So as soon as he did that, that just really brought him in hook, line, and sinker, because everybody after that, once they stopped the waivers, he is just like China. He is screwing over their economy. Speaking of China, hey, remember I was telling you about China and how it has that effect on Vietnam? Remember me and you were talking about that?
Hold on, Pepe. Hold on. I got to stop you once again. That's on Wednesday's talk, and that's on Patreon, too. I only talk about Iraq on here.
Wednesday one? Okay, because that's some good stuff right there, man.
That conversation was fire. So, yeah, you want to hear about Indonesia? You want to hear about Pakistan? You want to hear about...
Give it to the Wednesday one? Let's do it.
We'll give them all to you, but just not here, because I promised everybody that this was going to be their channel.
Iraq. We're sticking to the Iraq. Gotcha.
Right. Okay. So you want to see that on Patreon?
Yeah, but this thing going on over there, I mean, I think it is affecting the dinar a little bit, but you know what? Not in a negative way. Iraq is starting to really become the center point for a lot of things, and this is good. It's getting to the point where they're almost, just like Vietnam, not to get into it, but they're almost to the point where they're going to be forced and have no choice but to do something and change the rate of their currencies. They're almost at the point where they have no choice, because the worst thing you want to do is get in the United States' good graces and then not comply to what they want and then piss them off and then go elsewhere, because then they really screw you. That's what you don't want to see happen.
Right, because I think what everybody's forgetting, and I think this is funny, for everything that Iran drops, because they like to meddle in things, but the way they meddle in things is because they're actually a country that's very proficient in making money. They make money decently. Even their currencies for crap, they make money decently, and they use the money they make to fund their crap through the Middle East and stir up crap. You see what I'm saying? And without their money to have their kind of like bully money with, they're not as effective as I think as an army or a navy or something like that to defend their borders. Not saying that they're not extreme enough to do it, but I'm just thinking that as a pure war faction, that they don't want to go toe-to-toe with the United States. Now, as martyrs would go to fuel their hate for their secondary generation of people that hate America or the Western civilization, I could see them doing it because they would get destroyed. They become martyrs and then they hate America again. But I don't think that Iran, from a political standpoint, actually wants to go toe-to-toe with the United States. I'm just saying.
No, they can't afford that.
Yeah, I don't think they can.
All that generous money that Obama gave them, flying over there in the middle of the damn night, giving them trains at $1.5 trillion. They already went through all that money. What they do? They funded terrorist situations. They funded part of their attacks over there in Syria. They're out of the money. They have nothing. This is why they've been trying and relying so hard on Iraq, and Iraq saying, sorry, can't help you, man. They got the cutoff. Once the waivers ended, it's over.
Right.
Every day, just like China, every day their economy is hit so hard. And that's what we want to see, especially with China. We want to see this.
Right. What you want to see.
They're losing by the day.
Yeah, and what you want to see is those Ashan, the Asians, those Asian nations, Vietnam, Indonesia. There's a few others, and Jason probably can tell you better than I can. But about those Asian unified countries that you want to see the trade shift from China, which is already subcontracted through Ashan, through those countries for those guys to get the credit, right?
Well, you're killing me now. You said we weren't supposed to talk about it, and then you brought it up.
Right.
Because since you see that, then I want to jump on that because that affects the dumb. You know, I'm like, oh wait, people got to hear this, and then you bring it up.
All right, look at your TV screen. You see your hand? You see my hand?
Here, let me do that for you.
Go ahead, because there's a slight delay between our phone call and that.
Did you see it?
Oh, it'll show up here in a second. But anyways, look, here's the thing. We know that what we want to see is this. The U.S. dollar gets stronger now. We want to see China's dollar get weaker. The faster it gets weaker, the more we benefit, okay? For you other alternative currency holders.
All right, enough about dong. Let's get back. You want to talk dong? You want to talk rupiah? You want to talk currencies? Go on Patreon. We're gonna talk all that for you, but not here. We're gonna give people a little bit out. Yeah, okay, Linda says call in.
Because there's some good stuff happening, and we'll jump it on Wednesday. But holy crap, man! I was telling Mr. D, hey, check this out, and we see something happening, and then not only were we seeing it, and then he went on the news and brought it up. I was like, oh man, this is perfect. So good. I see now the thing is now I'm all jazzed up about it. But so how about those Dodgers, by the way? No, just kidding. Go ahead.
Amazing, really. The doctors, I'll tell you. Oh, what's the Patreon link? Hey, Ms. BB, can you post a Patreon link?
I already posted it.
Okay.
I think you're reading the old stuff, right?
That was 9:42. It's 9:50. Yeah, a couple minutes. Now, I want you guys to really think about right here before we close out because we only got 10 minutes. This is the thought process I want you guys to kind of have for just 2 seconds, okay? Let's talk seriously about what could happen in Iran, a realistic scenario. So realistically, if they don't settle everything by Ramadan, and in my opinion, well, how is your guys' feeling about a lock? 1 minute or less, both of you. Jason, you go first.
Say that one more time.
I want you to give everybody's your opinion about a lock. 1 minute or less. Stay or go. How do you feel?
I swear you're asking me about my opinion on Allah. I'm like, Allah.
Not Allah, Allah. Ishmael Ali Allah.
I honestly feel that he's going to be out of there. It's everything is pointing. I mean, basically, it just looks like it's at the end of the road. Mm-hmm. There's nowhere to go. There's nothing else that can happen because it's everything. Basically, his political life is just draining out of his body. Well, don't forget, we got a deadline coming up here, remember?
Mm-hmm.
June the 1st, isn't it? The deadline? That's what
June 1.
Get the hell out?
June 1 was a major date set by Mahdi that Sadr said he had to have his government seated or he was going after his behind. And something else happened.
Also, Trump's pushing that.
Yeah, Trump's holding him accountable for it.
He's tired of him. Yeah.
Okay. Pempe, you're feeling all y'all.
It's Trump's going to get his people in there one way or another. That's all there is to it. Now, you got to remember, for what the Kurds helped the United States in Syria, they're being rewarded over here in Iraq, I think. So they have some influence and some power within the government, and that's what's promised to them. So, if anybody tries to get in that way, it's not going to work. Trump's going to get what he wants one way or another. Everybody around the world, if you ain't figured that out by yet, look what's going on in China. Even when his own party.
Hold on. We got a gentleman out here named John Reed that says, because Iraq is corrupt, they're not very close. John, why don't you call me? I have no idea, Tatiana, not at all. No one here knows. John Reed, I'll tell you, I have an idea. You can call me and I'll tell you personally, John Reed. John, you call me. I'll tell you personally.
We need to end the damn auctions is what we need to do.
That's my point. Okay, so let me give you my point. Ali al-Laq must go. The auction's going to stop subsequently after that. Third, you're going to have a huge influx in the private sector. Bank inclusion, because the age of that demographic is going to come not only through business, which is going to be a major revenue stream. The second's going to be between digital currencies. Notice I didn't say crypto. I said digital currency. That's going to be the inclusionary process that brings the younger generation and the older generation, not just from those young engineers, but to those older people depositing their checks in the bank and holding it for savings for an interest rate. That's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't. There was recently, it wasn't that long ago. I'll try to see if I can find it because I don't want to, again, put my foot in my mouth. But just recently, there was a huge article about the amount of corruption centered around those auctions. So just stopping those auctions would put a huge damper on all the corruption. You really need to stop these damn auctions.
Right. The auctions must. Okay. The auctions don't have to stop for there to be a reinstatement, but the auctions have to stop for their, really, in my opinion, for the revaluation to hold any water. Does that make any sense?
Oh, I think so. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
yes,
they have
You're
to.
not diluting the currency.
Correct. Yeah.
Because what they're doing is they're exchanging their currency for another currency. We don't want that to happen.
Exactly. It's still an MCP.
To get stronger. That's what we want. Now, the stronger their currency becomes, their own dollar, the more money we get back once the exchange happens.
Exactly. They're talking major cryptos in here right now. I'm getting lost.
Don't look at us. Don't look at us.
Hey, Miss Phoebe, so look at I met my friend when they dropped, real quick, just a quick side note. And he said, look, he was making fun of me. And I said, dude, trust me, I'm looking at I analyzed the graphs real quick. I can just tell you this. So I bet him $100 that XRP would reach 37 cents within a week. You see, it's at 36.5 cents, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I'll finish this out with my whole thing. Can we talk about Dong in here? No. Can we talk about Rupee in here? No. I promise you guys Iraq. I'm giving you Iraq. You want to talk Dong? You want to talk Rupee? You want to talk currency with me?
Well, you got to explain why, because you tell them you guys got a lot of complaints.
Yeah, I got bitched at. I got bitched out about cryptos. Yeah, I got
talking about other things.
Yeah, I got bitched out about crypto or digital currency. I can't say it right. Don't talk about it. So I'm not talking about digital currency in here. I'm not talking about any other foreign currency, but Iraq in here. That's why you started
those other platforms so that other people can hear about
it. And if you're interested in that, the descriptions are going to be posted up. You can talk that with me all day, all night. And I love talking about it.
You definitely want to hear the video on Wednesday because that's big. What's happening right now is huge.
Huge. And we're going to get Jason in there. We're going to bring him in there kicking and screaming.
Now you see what happens? You can't please all the people all the time. You know what I mean?
Well, you can. You know what you can't? It's called a closed circuit environment. They're pleased because that's where they want to be.
Here's a big hint that you can actually plug in for that on Wednesday as well.
Okay.
Is that just think about a domino effect, like what's happening with what you're saying with the people in Iran. That's, check out the domino effect that's happening in Asia right now because of what's going on with the trade war. Also, there's something big as far as Indonesia, what you were talking about.
Huge.
Something big is actually happening.
Are you talking about the Trump announcement? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
you're not?
Oh, no, you didn't hear what Trump was doing.
No!
Okay, look, without spilling the beans, there's three things we want to watch for. Stronger, the power of the dollar to increase, the China dollar to decrease, and it's dropping fast. So we got to keep watching it. Trust me when I tell you this. You want it to drop like a hot potato.
Yep.
And you do not want the China, for those of you holding down, you do not want the China deal to happen. Trust me.
China's got to stretch on for as long as it can. China's got to ststretch on.
Believe me when
I'll explain that in Wednesdays. I'll explain in great detail on Wednesday.
Okay, hold on. Jason will be there too. I'll be there. Miss BB, what's your feeling on Ali al-Laq?
Well, I really don't know.
Do you like a lock?
But what I don't like about him
Hold on, Pepe. Hold on. Let Miss Bibi give her opinion real quick. The central bank governor of Iraq, do you like him? He's against digital currency. You know that, right? He wants to outlaw it. He thinks it's the motherhood of wrongdoing.
Well, here's the thing. His country is the mother of wrongdoing.
Okay, so should we keep him or should he go?
He should go off of that.
Done. Now.
Well, he gives away oxes for free.
Okay, and he smuggles that money to Syria and Iran.
How did you miss that joke? That's so funny.
Well, I didn't miss it.
All the oxes. Never mind.
You're retarded. Okay, I don't know if I can say that on here and be politically correct. All right, y'all. We are 2 minutes out of it. I'm gonna hang out with my special guest. You want to talk currencies besides Iraq? Miss Bibi's gonna post it in the thing. I'll get Jason in there. Jason's gonna join Patreon. I'm telling me he has to. Uncle Luke is already a member of Patreon. They're both going to be in Telegram. You want to talk currency all day, all night.
I'll be out there tomorrow.
You can talk crypto or digital.
Let me say this real quick. So, shout out to one of our subscribers because he mentioned that Coinbase charges a lot in fees. However, if you go to Robinhood and you're exchanging the major ones that are on Coinbase, they're also on Robinhood. So that was part of the conversation you were seeing out there.
Okay.
Now.
Am I saying to you guys, am I holding anything back? No. I'm just saying that you guys, I promise you guys Iraq all the time. You want me to give up another little promise? Get me those 20 subs. Get us over 4K. I'll drop a tidbit about a different currency on Wednesday's podcast. But to hear the podcast that me, Jason, Pepe, and Miss Bibi are going to be on, that only about 40 of our closest friends, we're going to be on Patreon this Wednesday. Talking that all the time.
I'm gonna try to get in there.
People should go to that video because what's happening right now is really super big news. And the funny thing is this, because me and you talked about this. I thought that Zim would go first, and then I said no. I think the Dong is going to because of the dinar.
Did you see the news about the Zim though?
But there were so many things happening with the dinar.
This is the dinar channel.
Then I said,
hold on, and we could talk this too. Did you see what happened with the United States saying they could bring back the RMZ, the Zim note, the current one, in like a few months?
2008?
Yeah. No, not 2008. But you could get an opportunity. I can't go into it, but the Zim note could come back.
The one I'm holding?
The 1 year old, you could trade it in for
Yeah.
all the
time.
Yeah.
I really think that was the plan all along, to get people to get rid of those other ones, like Silly Willies, and then pump out this new one, and then turn around and go back to the old one. So if you see that crap happening with these other two currencies, don't fall for it.
Okay,
hold on. James Reed said, I can't hear $25 just to hear about the Dong. Then James, no offense, brother. I can't. Okay. I mean, this is about Iraq. This is what I do. I'm sorry. You don't like it? Don't watch it. I'm sorry.
Wait.
I'm talking about what you guys. Hold on. I'm asking what you guys want me to talk about all the time. That's what I'm doing. Go ahead, Ms. Bibi.
Tomorrow, I'll be going over Coinbase to Binance because Binance is back up. So that's all I wanted to say. I can't say a time. It depends on this heat because chocolate melts. Okay. That's it. I'm done.
What the hell? Did you guys just say it was raining over there? How could it be hot?
It's bipolar. We live in H-Town.
It's Texas.
And
we got to go.
You took that Northern California weather, man.
That's San Diego weather. Oh, and Seamus told me to tell you how about those Blazers. Okay.
I know. Shout out to the Blazers.
Shout out to Seamus.
On camera?
I thought you were logging off. You got your finger on there.
Blazers.
Hey, y'all. Hold on.
What you doing with that finger?
I was moving the cursor to turn it off.
Turn it off.
Okay. Now, hey, you guys have a great night. We'll talk more currency. We're going to talk it all week, but we will talk to you guys later on.
See y'all.
Have a good one.
Tomorrow.
Peace.
Have a good evening. Bye.
Bye.
Peace.